Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Includability Shorts, a series of short, snappy chats stuffed with hot tips from our incredible includability partner experts. I'm delighted to be joined by the wonderful Alex Manners, Neurodiversity and Autism Speaker, radio and film presenter, and author of That's Not Right, My Life Living with Asperger's. Alex, it's so great to see you as always, mate. And we know alongside the very best intentions that companies can sometimes really struggle on where they need to focus to help create an inclusive workplace. What would be your hot tips to support them in terms of what they can put in place?
I think, there are lots of different things that companies can put in place to make a workspace environment more accessible and inclusive for people like myself who may have Asperger's or autism. I think a lot of the things that companies can do are really easy and simple to actually implement. They don't cost anything to put in place. And you may find that some of the things that you put in place for someone that has autism may actually be beneficial for a lot of other people as well. So I always say, first and foremost, making the environment inclusive to people who have autism will probably mean you're making the environment inclusive to lots of other people as well. I think one of the first things to do is to adapt the environment to suit that individual's needs. So, for example, if someone doesn't like sitting by a window, then give them a desk that's further away from the window. Or if they need, if your office is a big open plan space and they find that open plan environment too sensory driven and too overloading, then maybe give them an office maybe or a desk in a separate environment or a separate room. So adapting the environment to suit that individual's needs is really, really important. Also, I think having a quiet space that they can go to, that's another really great thing that you can put in place. Having a quiet space that they know they can go to at any moment if they're feeling stressed, if they're feeling worried, or if they just need 5 or 10 minutes to themselves. But I would always say that make sure that quiet space is the same space all of the time so that individual knows exactly, where to go should they need a few minutes to themselves. I think the third thing would be to ensure that each individual who is neurodiverse, that has autism, has someone they can speak to should any concerns or issues or challenges arise. It could be someone who they're really friendly with at work. It could be a colleague. It could be a few people who they're comfortable with, or it could be someone maybe they can reach on the phone. But by having that one individual they can speak to when a challenge or something arises that they need to speak to someone about, it stops them from essentially, like I used to do, bottling everything up until they get home. So that's another really, really great thing. I think the fourth thing is thinking about the language that you're using. So when you're speaking to somebody who's got autism, try not to use any ambiguous sayings or phrases or idioms because they can really confuse us. Give us more time to answer a particular question. Make sure that when you're asking us questions or to do specific tasks, make sure you're asking us one thing at a time. Because often if you amalgamate 2 or 3 things into one sentence or one question, we often forget some of the things that you've told us. So definitely thinking about making your language a lot simpler and easier to understand, and thinking about a lot of those ways that you may communicate with an individual. Just think about doing them slightly differently. So don't worry if we don't give you any eye contact. Don't worry if we take longer to answer a question. It's just thinking about those kinds of things. And then I think the last thing I would say is when you're giving someone a certain task to do, just think about writing those tasks in a bullet pointed list in order of when they need to be done so that individual knows exactly what needs to be done. And when anything needs doing, or whenever you need to give someone information, give them as much information as you possibly can about that task, or about, it could be a change that's going to happen. It could be a new procedure that's coming in place, but whatever that thing is that information is needed to be given about, give that individual as much information as possible. And, you could have a longer version of that information and then a separate bullet pointed list or shorter version so that information is, so basically more easily readable. But if a person does want to read all of the information, they've got that there. So providing information in different ways is also another great way of doing things. But I think those would be my top tips for making a workspace more accessible and more inclusive to people who have Asperger's or autism.
Alex, that's absolutely incredible. Well, thank you so much, and just an absolute joy to catch up with you as always. Thank you for sharing all of your insights and your knowledge and brilliance. And To everyone who has just watched our latest Includability short, thank you, of course, so much for joining us. For more of these light bulb moments, please do head over to our weareincludability.co.uk website, or of course you can check out our YouTube and our Spotify channels. In the meantime, let's keep growing, let's keep learning, and let's keep making our workplaces more inclusive, diverse, and mentally healthy together. Thank you again and have a great day.